Hello everybody and welcome to Jim Games. Right folks, we're going to talk about all the ships in No Man's Sky, right, from start to finish, all the different classes, right. I know all about ships in No Man's Sky, so I was a ship hunter from the start of the game. You know, I used to post in the Coordinates Exchange, made a group on Facebook about it, and now I'm a YouTuber, right. So I'm pretty good at ship hunting. I know all the stats. We're going to base these stats on console basis, you know, from the console stats, because on PC you can mod the actual modules of the ships and make them faster than normal. So we'll do it on console level, right? So, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, that thing. We're not leaving out PC players. You can use the same stats if you don't mod on PC. So we'll get on with it. So I'll go through each ship, right? I usually upgrade my ships using X-Class parts, but what I'll do is in this tutorial we'll do it by S-Class, right? Just standard S-Class, okay? I'm not going to min-max it like that, okay? I'm not going to go crazy. So we're just going to use standard parts, right? So what I'll do is I'll show you the ship and I'll put the stats up min-maxing to what ship can do, right? So without further ado, let's get on with it. That's a waffle over with. That's 1 minute and 30 seconds. Done. Right, now then, we're going to start with the fighter. This is every general fighter, right? Apart from heavy fighters. I'll talk about heavy fighters at the end of this, right? So every standard fighter, right, with the stats regarding S-Class parts, right, for the hyperdrive, if you use 2 supercharged slots for the hyperdrive, okay, this is based on 2 of each, right, so you get 4 supercharged slots per, you know, rack of parts, right. You will, if you put 2 for the hyperdrive S-Class parts, once it's fully upgraded, right, with all the modules that you can get from the space anomaly, you will have around about, for the hyperdrive for a fighter, 1,800 light years. For the other 2 supercharged slots, if you have it based on, you know, just the 2 slots for the pulse engine, it will come to about 1,500 light years, okay? This is based on 2 supercharged slots per pulse engine and hyperdrive, right? Now then, when it comes down to fighters, obviously the weapon systems are going to be the best on all the ships, right? Excluding the exotics, right? We'll go into the exotics later on, okay? So the fighters are good for fighting. That's why they're called fighters. Best for all weapons. So if you can upgrade your ship only using S-Class parts as a base, right, just a base, you can upgrade your fighter to something that can take on anything. So that's base for fighters. Now let's go on to the haulers, right? Haulers originally were the best ship in No Man's Sky, originally, right, until Hello Games changed all the storage on all the ships to exactly the same for all ships, apart from exotics. I think they get 2 extra slots, right? So haulers, the best ability for the haulers are the shields, but we'll talk about the hyperdrive and pulse engine. For haulers, the pulse engine is terrible. I reckon if you just put 2 S-Class parts in the supercharged slots, right, you will get around about 800 for the pulse engine, you know, for speed, and then you will get for the hyperdrive, it goes to about 2,000, okay, if you put 2 S-Class parts in. So they're okay mid-range, right, for the haulers. The good thing about haulers are if you wanted to min-max a hauler out using the supercharged slots, my recommendation is to put shields into the supercharged slots, because the haulers have the best shields in any ship. So that's my recommendation if you're wanting to use that for a ship in for the hauler in No Man's Sky, right? So the shields are incredible for haulers, right? So that's what they're good for, right? Now then, let's go on to the Explorers. This is my favourite ship in No Man's Sky. I like Explorers, but we'll base it on S-Class parts yet again. Right, so if you put 2 S-Class parts for the hyperdrive, right, in the supercharged slots, 2 supercharged slots, right, you will get the range about 2,400 light years for the hyperdrive, so it's pretty good. An X-Class version, if you use the X-Class parts, right, you will get something like 3,300 light years. Okay, so, you know, Explorers are good for exploring. Explorers are really rubbish regarding weapons, right? They are really bad regarding shields, right? Maneuverability is about the same as a fighter, right? So this is why I like Explorers, and they look cool as well, especially the small ones, the hoppers, right? Now then, let's go on to shuttles, right? Shuttles are interesting, right? A lot of people don't like shuttles. They are like the ship that you get at the beginning of the game. They're really cheap, right? But shuttles have a sting in their tail. Let me explain. Right, shuttles hyperdrives, if you upgrade them with 2 S-Class parts in the supercharged slots, right, and they upgrade exactly the same as fighters, if not more, right? The shields are more or less the same as a hauler, right? So, you know, they are really good regarding stats as shuttles. They are. All of them, all the way across. So my advice to you, if you're wanting to get a shuttle, upgrade it with X-Class parts. Because a shuttle with X-Class parts, you will get a hyperdrive roundabout using two supercharged slots roundabout. I'd say 2,300 light years, and then your maneuverability would be for your pulse engine with 2 supercharged slots will be round about, I'd say, 2,000, right? So shuttles are pretty good. Now let's go on to the interceptors. The interceptors, we'll put the interceptors and the solar ships both in the same category because they both upgrade exactly the same. When Hello Games brought out the solar ships, they never changed the stats for any ships onwards. This is including the special ships you get in awards and stuff. They never changed them. So they based them around, the stats around about the same as the fighters. Okay, just a little bit less. So you're talking about 2 S-Class parts in supercharged slots around about the hyperdrive to about 1,800, and then the pulse engine around about 2,000. Right, so it's around about fighters. The weapon systems are really good, same as fighters. So, you know, the stats aren't exactly high regarding interceptors and solar ships. They're not min-max, and even with an X-Class parts, you won't get that much, you know, higher stats with these 2 ships. It's just the maneuverability is really good with the solar ship and the interceptors. Right, now let's go into the special ships, right? No, I'll tell you what, we're going to the exotics, right? We'll go to exotics. Currently we've got the Squid Up, right? These are super good ships. These are some of the best ships in the game. Let's say 2 S-Class parts in supercharged slots, so on average you'll get about 2,400 light years for your hyperdrive, and the same again with 2 S-Class parts in supercharged slots. You would get around about, I'd say, 2,300 in for speed for the pulse engine. So, you know, the weapon systems are the best in the game, right, for the exotics. You know, we're talking squids, royal exotics, standard exotics, all the exotic range, right? They're all amazing, right? So I get squid ships, but squid ships turn funny. They turn like a bus, right? So I've got 2 of them. When you find a squid ship, you don't want to get rid of it because it's so hard to find. Anyway, let's move on to the special ships, right? The special ships, will use a living ship for an example, right? I've got a living ship. I call it the Booze Ball Sack, right? The living ship, the parts on living ships are hard to find because you've got to pulse in certain locations to find an egg and shoot the egg and you've got a part. But with the living ship, if you're in creative mode, you can automatically just press on the part, you know, click on the part and it upgrades it automatically to S-Class. But the stats for living ship are terrible, right? They're awful. They are, I'd say they're about the same as, if not worse than the interceptors, right? They are awful, right? Plus, with living ships, you cannot get an economy scanner. There's no economy scanner or any kind of scanner with the living ships, so you can't find trading posts or anything like that. They are useless. They just look good, right? They're not very good ships to get, and going through that quest line to get this ship is just more like a status symbol in the space anomaly having one, right? You get people to look at your ship. Now that I'm running out of breath here, folks, right, you got the special ships that you got in prizes for exhibitions like the Golden Vector and the Utopia Speeder, right? Okay, so these ships they upgrade just a little bit better than fighters. I'd say they're in the range of like the interceptors and the solar ships, right? Anyway, I hope I've explained this well enough. Sorry I couldn't put video in it, right? But I do have a min-maxing video for No Man's Sky. Okay, if you want to check that out, that's in my tutorials video, right? My playlist, right? I've got loads of ship videos, right, on how to upgrade ships. But this is in general, the ships. So you tell me what ships you like in No Man's Sky. Which is your favourite? Which ones do you own? Leave them in the comments, right? Anyway, I've run out of breath now. This is a long video, longest one I've ever done actually, right? And I'd like to thank you all for watching and actually listening to me ramble on for all this time about ships in No Man's Sky. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I shall see you all in the next video. Chatty bye.